Hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. So, Aquarians, I wanted to take a look at a retrograde message since retrograde begins today. So, we are going to jump on in and get to retrograde for each zodiac. Knowing that this is where Mercury laps us, it means things can come back around, and now we're a little older and wiser. So, what does that look like? What might be showing back up, and what is it that we would see differently this time around? What's the message for retrograde? We have the Chariot, we have the Queen of Wands sideways. You know what? If somebody left Aquarius and Aquarius is thinking about them again, what they may realize is, I'm not really sure why I thought that person was so terrific. There may be something about them that I'm realizing maybe they weren't the most fabulous person that ever walked this earth. Yeah, Ten of Swords. And it could even be that Aquarius is realizing they could bump into a partner, by the way. They could, see a person from their past. Or this could be something. It doesn't have to be a person all the time. It could be something that we thought we really, really wanted, something that we're like, oh my God, this is the best of the best. This is like the only one that I want. This is the person that I most look up to. This is the person whose words I hang on because, wow, they're really something. And instead, it's a little bit like, wait a minute. They perhaps moved on even for semi-selfish reasons, or I'm seeing that the way they move through life is to kind of, I'm sorry, this is not the greatest message, but we have a lot of people that they maybe have run through. Like, let's say this is somebody who runs through friends. They act like, oh, I'm wonderful, and then it's like, but actually, you ladder climb to get to the friends that can do something for you, and once their utility is through, then this character moves on. And it could be that Aquarius sees somebody that way. At minimum, it's like, actually, it was time that I not see this person with stars in my eyes anymore. It says this person is not a villain, okay? The Queen of Wands was sideways, but we definitely see Aquarius recognizing they're not all that. Or let's say it's not a person. Let's say it's this thing that we just had to own. We wanted to save money because this one thing was the best of the best. And it was very exclusive. And now that it's like, maybe it's something that we still can't afford, but we go back and we look at it and it's like, honestly, that wouldn't have even suited me. At one point in time, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. But now that I look at it again, even though it still is completely out of my league at this point financially, I don't really care. It wouldn't have fit that, whatever, fantastic couch. Really, there's a lot of drawbacks to it. I don't want to, let's say, suede or leather couch. I have pets. I don't want a leather couch. My pet will scratch it up, whatever this is. It just says, oh my God, I think Aquarius is able to say, that's not one of the dreams that still is in my jar of dreams. I don't pine for that. And with that, it's like, poof, I no longer need that. I realizing that I have other dreams and wishes that are so much more attainable. And I think now that we got that one thing off the list, or that one person who we thought was oh so sexy, that now we realize they might have moved on, they might have left me, but I'm seeing that they have maybe a bit of a pattern. And honestly, I'm really glad that I'm not one of the individuals who's still in their, sphere. I'm glad that my utility was done and they moved on. Because it means I'm no longer like having my energy sapped. And now that all my energy belongs to me again, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of dreams and wishes that I have that are much more attainable. Or there's other ways that I will, get that expensive couch instead of buy that really expensive one that wouldn't have worked anyway. Now, like I'm thinking about that money that I'd been saving and saying, well, I could use that $300 for something else. It still wasn't enough to buy the $700 couch. But I could spend that $300 on something so much more valuable, so much more worthwhile. Or I now can like get back to my own life now that I'm not pining for the wrong person. So there's something beautiful that happens when we no longer crave the thing that we thought was so fabulous that maybe never really was, when we see it without rose-colored glasses on. I think this is where Aquarius's own self-worth starts to go up as well. This is Aquarius saying, you know what? I'm actually really happy. I'm happy in myself. I'm happy with my own life. I'm happy with the way I do things. I'm happy with the couch that I have. And I'm realizing maybe even I'm happier without that particular person, if that was about a person. All of this speaks of Aquarius being in a much more like uplifted energy, a much happier space, a much more like enlightened and heartfelt energy space. And it's so great to see that Aquarius is feeling better about themselves. We have a Queen of Swords. It is in a sideways position, which this could be Aquarius saying, man, I was definitely giving away my power. Now that I'm not, I feel really good about me again. With this, I want to say that Aquarius's life is about to start to blossom in different ways. I feel like they're about to have a surge of happiness during this Mercury retrograde. And with that Queen of Swords sideways, I almost think Aquarius is, I don't know if they're going to do some journaling right now or get back to something that they've wanted, turn their mind and their attention to the things that they need to do. Two of Wands, yeah. Anytime we stop hemorrhaging our energy toward something else that is no longer our wish come true, and we get all that energy back to pursue our real dreams and goals, the ones that are more authentic for us, the ones that really are like things meant for us, it's amazing because it also opens up other chapters, other doors. I think this person was blocking Aquarius's life path. May I ask what Aquarius's current life path really boils down to? By the way, Aquarius, I really like this backdrop, and we're going to be using this for a couple more days. And I have 2 more videos that I want to do for you guys, well, for everybody. So hang in there, because this is a little bit of a pre-taste of one of the storylines that'll come up later into next week. But we've got the Lovers card going to the Chariot. We got the High Priestess going to the Empress. So Aquarius definitely has a particular life path that they were always supposed to be on. There could be a significant Cancerian that is coming into Aquarius's life. And I just say that because we've seen the Chariot now twice. Now we also bring in some Libra, Taurus. We also have some Virgo, Cancer, Pisces, and we have Gemini here. But when I asked, okay, so what are the different pathways? You notice how we have a child or a baby on each of these. Now that can represent human children, that can represent business ideas, anything that we're going to grow and nurture, anything that we would, tend to see things blossom. On both of these cards, I would say that it speaks of relationship as well. That is part of a future. So we have something to build and grow. We have relationships. And then this card is more like romance, though, and desire and passion. So that's one avenue. Remember, we have the 2 of Wands. So we're looking at the 2 different paths that I think Aquarius is now saying, oh my God, I'm realizing that there's these 2 very different life paths in front of me, which maybe were always there, but I couldn't see them because I was still focused on that one person or that one life path or that one thing that I had to have, only now to discover that I wouldn't want it. I mean, it left me anyway. This feels like kind of like an ex who walked out of Aquarius's life, and they could have been quite arrogant, and they could have been quite good looking, and they could have been all those things, but they left Aquarius's life. And I think Aquarius is like, hallelujah, thank God they did. Now that this Mercury retrograde comes around, as I see them again, bump into them again, or something like that, I realize they weren't right for me. Now, as we get to that 2 of Wands, as Aquarius's life starts to open up, as they start journaling and start asking themselves, wait a second, so what is right for me? Because I know it's not that person from the past. And it says either a lover's relationship and moving forward and possibly, having a business together, having a child together. They could meet somebody, possibly a Cancerian who already has a child, or a Gemini. There could be twins involved, by the way. Or the other path could be a more spiritual path. Again, could lead toward business, though, with the Empress. Could be a relationship that would lead to marriage. But first and foremost, we have to look at that high priestess. And to me, that's this emerging like spiritual gift, spiritual path. So I almost think that I'm wondering if Aquarius is asking themselves, which life path could I really say would work best for me? I need to like hone in on that and become aware, what would I prefer? Because it's almost like these two paths sit there in front of Aquarius and they kind of are sensing it during this retrograde. Maybe these are old wishes that they had. Maybe it's like, I always wanted to, take 6 months and study deeply about, some kind of spiritualism. Wow, I could maybe focus some of my energy on that now. And maybe that's how I meet somebody, and maybe that becomes something that I do, or a business empire that I run, or something where I would give birth to like something of my own after really investing in it. On the other hand, I had this other dream once upon a time of mine, a different goal that I would like to focus on, having a really amazing relationship and seeing where that takes me, and, progressing forward in life and having a partner. So one looks like it's a little bit more autonomous, at least as far as like what Aquarius would be pursuing. And the other is like, no, partnership. I want to do this with a partner. Either way, Aquarius is still going to have to make a new decision. And this is the other thing to start thinking about. So basically two things come back around during this retrograde. One is an ex who ain't all that. It's just somebody who's not that sexy, not that hot. Or like I said, something that we used to want a long time ago, a ton, and we don't want it anymore. And it shows back up and we get a chance to see it. And we're like, yeah, I'm over it. The thrill is gone. Got some BB King music coming in. Thrill is gone. Thrill is gone away. But then the other thing that comes back around is life paths, old goals, real strong wishes and desires for what Aquarius had dreamed their life would look like. We go to that jar of dreams and we know now Aquarius is ready to start picking something out of that jar of dreams again and say, yeah, this is the thing that I wanted. I totally forgot. This was a dream I had before I got off track a bit by that Queen of Wands, before that kind of, threw me. By the way, that Queen of Wands could have been a masculine or a feminine, doesn't matter. But they were a blockage to Aquarius's like original plans for their life. And now Aquarius is back on their original like avenue. Is there any advice for Aquarius during this retrograde? Universe, is there anything? We have got the Six of Swords sideways. Sorting out the difference between, is there an unfulfilled wish that a character has purely because it's like, well, this is from my past, this is from my childhood, because if sometimes we do things to prove stuff, not to ourselves, but to others, that or to honor others, but it's not really our life path. And it just says, be mindful, especially if Aquarius is about to start focusing on a life path, on a dream that they had once upon a time. Be mindful to make sure that it's Aquarius's dream and not somebody else, not somebody else's. Like that's how that comes across to me. Be mindful that we don't want to do something because it's somebody else's dream for ourselves that we're trying to fulfill. Okay, I'm going to leave that one there. I feel like Aquarius holds all their power during this Mercury retrograde, but they do have some decisions to make. But this is a great retrograde for Aquarius. I mean, absolutely fantastic. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Lots of love. All right, take care for the moment. Bye for now, guys.